Welcome back, everyone, to another fascinating episode of the Av Files. I'm your host, Av, and I'm joined once again by the guinea pig hunter himself, Daniel
What?
of Arius and the Nation.
Guys, stay
What is up?
enigmatic. Enigmatic. That is my
Got it.
thing. And do guinea pigs taste like guinea? You know what I mean? Like, throw it back that way. Let's talk to you Guineans.
Do guinea pigs taste like guinea? I don't even know what guinea tastes like.
I don't even know where Guinea is. Still to this day.
Well, you said New Guinea. You said before New
Yeah,
Guinea.
Papua, New
Papua-
Guinea. There's a
Papua
little bit of spice on the Papua New Guinea, and they do not have guinea pigs after at least 2 hours of research.
Yeah, we found out they're actually from Peru.
What?
Do they eat
Or
guinea
as
pigs?
or what I called it Palu. I did. I really did. I said Palu. Well, Peru is a hotspot for guinea pig and guinea pig activity. If you guys are wondering, it is a cash crop. Don't Google it. Don't Google
it. So, thanks for everybody for joining us today. And remember, if you're enjoying this content, please subscribe, push the like button, share, do all that stuff. Catch us out on Spotify and on YouTube. We're on both.
Listen, real quick. Listen, for everyone listening and watching, Av told me this before we went live, before we hit record. Right now, it's fucking free, guys. For right now, we're running a discount code. It's automatic because we're high tech. That subscribe button, fucking free. Fucking free for you guys. You.
To save every time everyone subscribes, it saves the guinea pig's life.
100%. 100% every time. Every subscription
Save the guinea pigs.
Save the guinea pigs. All right. Oh, Jesus. And we're here.
And on the arms of an angel. Oh my god.
Shit.
So,
shit. only those that are US bound know that reference. To be honest.
That's okay. So, like I was trying to say before, if anybody also wants to drop us a line, wants to get in touch with us, we have an email set up. It's at therealadfiles@gmail.com. Therealadfiles@gmail.com. So simple. Just drop us a line. With
spelled AV, guys. Just
yes.
Out there.
Yep. Yes.
Our battle with the Wi-Fi is
yes.
constant and ongoing, and only you can help us in that battle.
Yeah, can prevent the internet from messing up this podcast.
Not sponsored by internet.
Obviously not. But again, so you can, if you just want to chat, drop us a line. Ideas, topics that you guys might want to talk about, pictures, whatever. Get in touch with us there. On today's episode, we'll be talking about the conspiracy theory of the moon landing, part 2. This is the part 2 episode. And in my opinion, I think this is probably one of the most popular theories about the moon landing. And to me, it's very interesting. And should I say controversial? This theory involves famed film director, and some would say one of the greatest film directors of all time, Stanley Kubrick, who directed such films as Eyes Wide Shut, which I did not really care for, Full Metal Jacket, which I thought was pretty fucking awesome, The Shining, and 2001: A Space Odyssey. And honestly, The Shining, I have to be honest, I love that movie, and for whatever reason, just makes me laugh every time. I crack up at that movie all the time. It's not. I'm not supposed to. It's not a comedy. I just find it funny.
Well, it's white people doing white people shit. White people do white people
shit. it's just funny, some funny parts in it. But Kubrick was actually they said that he really got on the actors in that. Like Shelley Duvall had to do one scene. The take took like 100 sometimes. It was
Wow.
100 some takes to do it. Yeah, like he broke her during that movie. Like she hated doing it.
Wow. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Like, listen, to make cinematic gold, like it comes with the cost. You know, to
I
like
guess so.
to I just
I guess so. Well, she wanted. I think at some point she wanted to get out of there, and she was like, "You know what? Forget this." And he was just like, "Nope." And she went back and finished it, but
isn't
yeah, I mean, that really,
now
really broke her.
isn't there like a whole like subgenre we could go with on that? Because they're like weird random coincidences that we don't believe in that happened because of that movie. Like kind of like the people that opened King Tut's tomb, like, interesting. Why did everyone die? Like, why does everyone have PTSD? You know, like that's a whole nother rabbit hole that we could go down
Right?
on that.
Maybe we'll have to find out. We will find out. So, now the moon landing, as we mentioned in our last episode, specifically the Apollo 11 mission, happened on July 20th, 1969, when astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to set foot on the lunar surface. And this event was broadcast live to millions of homes all over the world. So they, like we said in our last episode, they were up there. Everyone saw it. You know, America, yay! First ones on the moon, beat Russia. That was a big deal.
Huge deal.
Big deal. Yeah. So now this theory suggests that we didn't land on the moon, let alone leave the planet. What it says is that the whole thing was faked on a soundstage. Some proponents of this theory argue that Kubrick, known for his filmmaking skills, where they say he was very meticulous and known for his attention to detail, theorists argue that his experience with special effects and his dedication to realism in his films, such as 2001: A Space Odyssey, made him the ideal choice for directing a fake moon landing. If you didn't know that.
Oh man, what a can of worms! Like, what a perfect bed of snakes that is. A film director that is infatuated with said conspiracy theorists, conspiracy theory,
He's not.
like
He.
no,
That's just.
but
That was just a thought. They're like, when they had like the whole lighting situation, stuff like that, and they were like, it just seems kind of fake
what is the
to
lighting
people. People
situation?
were asking. Remember when on the last one I said,
Oh yeah,
I'll get into that. I'll get into that on here
okay,
as well. But there was
the
like there's
technical
some lighting.
aspect.
Yes,
Gotcha,
yeah,
gotcha.
there's some
Well,
stuff there.
if there was someone, if I was the government, that I would lean on is a film director, pretty much. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of who you go
Well, I
to.
mean, right? Yeah, who would you go to direct a fake moon landing? Someone that directs movies that knows what they're doing.
Yep.
And are you going to go after some rando guy that directs, B
Nope.
movies? Or are you going to go after Steven Spielberg? I mean, you're going to want the best of the best.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know, it's a big one to swallow.
Well, it it throws the moon landing in two different directions. If you believe that we made it to the moon, that causes your mind to make the chain of events feasible. If you believe that it was staged, that causes your mind to throw events in the opposite way, equally as feasible.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, this is like the OG conspiracy theory right here. This is, we've been pondering this one thought for so long that there are things that just make sense if it was. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that there is a theory out there that disproves that we can't get to the moon because we can now, but could we then? That's
Well, that's what they
difference.
were saying, like how like we didn't have the technology to
Yeah.
get there. That's what
Yeah.
they're saying.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you look back at it, you're like, well, it's kind of, I guess the technology and some of the stuff looked kind of clumsy.
Yeah.
And it did look like, uh some of the I guess inside of like the lunar modules you see, it looked like something out of Star Trek.
Yep. I'm with that. I'm tracking. Like,
You know?
we have more shit on our phones than they had sending people to the goddamn moon.
Yeah.
Now.
I mean, yeah. I like now I can see how we can get to the moon. But I always did wonder, like, how come we never went back? How come we haven't gone back to the moon? I mean, I would think by now, if we have a space station, going around the Earth, how come we don't have like a space station sitting on the moon?
Yeah. Valid.
I mean,
Very valid question.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I always thought that, but I'm like, I guess it makes sense if we're not out there yet.
But hear me out on this. Like, I don't know where the story's going, bro. Like, honestly, like, but we
sure
should
either.
have. But no, for real, we should have a space colony as a sort of united collective of nations pouring into creating a civilization on the moon. But we don't. And my thing is, why don't we? Because that's more of removing yourself from like the Earth's population and problems and furthering mankind, which should be a shared want of everyone.
Right.
Not ideology, but yeah.
Right. But they're trying to get us to go to Mars, which is,
Yeah.
I guess that's what they're trying to get us to do. But apparently, I'm again, correct me if I'm wrong, because I think this is right, that they said if you sign up to go to Mars, it's a one-way trip.
Yeah.
Like, get there, you're there, and then that's it.
Pretty much.
So
pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, if you go to Mars, they basically have to turn around and send you a care package right after you leave our atmosphere. Like that shit has to be constant.
Yeah.
Because of the years that it takes to get there.
Which is crazy, because I'm like, it really takes that long to get. It takes a while to get there. I think it took them like 3 days just to get to the moon.
So, you know what's funny is that I had a moment with my son the other day outside on the front porch, and we were looking at the Big Dipper. And, he hasn't stayed up that late ever. This is the first time he's seen the Big Dipper. And so I did a quick Google because, kids come up with questions and it's fucking legit questions that I don't know the answers to. That's what kids do. Each star in the Big Dipper is 70 light years away from itself.
Wow, really? So in between each one, it's 70 light years.
So
that's crazy.
That's if you travel the speed of light, you'll be traveling that speed for 70 fucking years to get to the next star.
Wow. And from down here, it doesn't even look like it's that far away.
It doesn't look like it's that far.
Yeah.
So,
but I guess
that is crazy in and of itself. Like, he was like, "How far is it?" I was like, 12 miles. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. I'm not gonna discuss and battle time differentials and light years with my son. He's 4 years old. So, but myself, I was like, that's wild. That's wild that we can look up and like, that's not that far. And yet it takes lifetime. It takes one lifetime traveling at light speed to get to the next star. Over.
That's
So
crazy, actually, when you think about that too.
yeah, it doesn't look that far. You look up in the sky, it's like boop, 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 little pot handle, Big Dipper. Yeah, no, each star that you're seeing in the night sky is 70 light years away, which is effing insane. Put the night sky into perspective.
It
You know what I
puts
mean?
in perspective how big it is.
Yeah,
You know how big the whole like
yeah.
stars and all the other stuff are from each other. That's crazy.
And so that's why I'm like,
Crazy.
it's crazy that we're talking about Mars, but the moon is so much
Moon.
shorter. We're talking about days at normal
Mm-hmm.
speed, days to get to it. But we're not, that's not a topic of conversation is let's go to the moon this weekend. It should be, but it's not. And I wonder why.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's an interesting question. If we ever talk to Neil deGrasse Tyson, maybe we can ask him.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes.
So they said he was recruited by the U.S. government, specifically NASA, to direct the fake moon landing footage. This theory surprisingly started in the 1970s and went through to the 1980s when the Cold War was at its peak, and as a response to skepticism and disbelief about the Apollo 11 moon landing in '69. Some proponents of the theory claim that the U.S. government staged the moon landing to bolster its global prestige during the space race with the Soviet Union. Theorists say there were messages or clues hidden in Kubrick's films that suggested his involvement in faking the moon landing. One example, they claim, a subtle hint can be found in The Shining, such as room number 237. 2 plus 3 plus 7 equals 12, referring to Apollo 12. And in a scene where the little boy Danny is playing on the floor, they say the carpet resembles a rocket launch pad. Another part in the movie is when Danny is wearing a sweater with the space shuttle on it. So they're saying those like little hints. Those were like little hints that he put specifically in the movie
Like an Easter egg.
for that. Yeah, kind of like an Easter egg,
Like an
early Easter eggs, I
Easter egg
guess.
for like conspiracy theorists. Now,
Right. Which is weird though, because uh maybe he liked NASA space flight or whatever the case may be, but I mean, um, but that he did have the space shuttle sweater on in the movie, and I never really thought about it. But when they started talking, I'm like, okay, you see the movie, and you're kind of like, okay, I see it, I kind of see it. All right,
well,
some weird stuff like that.
I feel like with like conspiracy theorists and people that like truly understand, like you can't just call yourself a conspiracy theorist with understanding that like if you get close to the truth, you're going to be deleted.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, do I think maybe subconsciously he could have added that in, but I don't think consciously he would have painted himself as a target. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
sometimes how people get too big to be a target. It's like if you kill them, then it's like it's obvious and it's like a little too weird. So you kind of have
kind of
to leave
like
them alone.
kind of like denying the truth is kind of like a truth in of itself. Like
Right. You
kind of
know?
like, oh no, like the White House, like, oh, we definitely didn't do that. Like,
Right.
you
Yeah.
definitely did. Kind of like
Right.
viewed like that.
Yeah. So it's one of those things like, yeah, they can't really do anything about it. You can
Well,
put little hints in it. Only certain people might get it, but for the most part, like, yeah, not really put any that don't do anything. Just let him have his fun. But yeah.
but then for me, like you're playing chess with that whole thing. Now, there has to, and if you're playing chess and you're dancing around topics and subliminally dropping shit in your movie, that's costing you real money, not space money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you got to know who's going to be picking up on that, right? And really the only radar that you're on at that time is people that are involved with cinema, not necessarily Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
But if it is a Hollywood production, the lunar landing and all that shit, then it makes sense. It makes
Yeah. I
sense.
mean,
You know what I mean? Like Hey, you
I
know,
mean,
just
yeah, no, I mean,
hey.
asking questions. That's all we're doing. Just asking questions.
We didn't kill ourselves, guys. We love life.
Now, I'm telling you, one of these days I'm gonna have a shirt. I didn't kill
Gotcha.
myself
Yep. Yep.
because
I didn't kill myself.
I love to live, and
100%.
I live to
Been
love.
been living it every day, loving it
Yeah,
ish. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Cheers to life.
hey, cheers. L'chaim. Fiddler on the Roof reference.
L'chaim. And to everybody listening.
Cheers, guys. But it's interesting, like, to think about that. Like, by the time The Shining was out, it happened, right?
Yeah.
So the lunar landing happened, the lunar walk, all that stuff had happened.
Mhm.
So, like, you kind of know who's watching that, and if he left like hints and like Easter eggs, I feel like the people you don't want to know would know, and that's not good. You're painting your own target at that point.
Mhm.
And I don't think with his how plugged in he was, I don't think he would have done that. I just can't believe that. I just can't believe he would seal that warrant on himself, because that's what you're doing. You know, you're kind of like, hey, I know something that no one else is supposed to know. I'm gonna leak it a little bit.
Well, maybe. I guess
Yeah.
because I mean, if he did do it, it's Well, the thing is also like you're involved in something like that, and you drop like subtle hints. There's gonna be people that believe you and be like, oh look, he's dropping these little hints. But there's also gonna be those that'll be like, it's just a movie. It's
Yeah.
nothing. You guys are making a big deal out of nothing.
Yep. Yep.
So it's what do they? How does that saying go? Like the best way to what is it? Hide a lie or to lies is like put it right in front of everyone's face.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Whoever said that, that is,
I think it was Kanye West.
or Nancy Reagan, or
Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton. You know, I love that. You know, we should totally make a line of shirts with misquoted quotes.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Uh,
But
so
yeah.
yep. All right. So theorists point to perceived anomalies in photographs and videos from the moon landing missions, such as unusual lighting and shadows. There's one source of light while you're standing on the moon, the sun. Yet the shadows of the astronaut falls in all different directions, which theorists say that's evidence that there may be multiple sources of light, kind of like the like you would find in a movie studio. But it said there are multiple sources of light other than just the sun. There was light from the lunar module and lights on the spacesuits. That's what they said. So you have the sun, and people were like, well, if there's one big giant light, then all the shadows should be cast going the same way. But you have the lunar module, you have astronaut here, astronaut there, you have whatever else, and you got shadows going all different directions. So by
Yeah.
definition, by seeing that, then there's multiple lights. Is what people are saying.
And hear me out on this. And guys and girls that are listening to this, trust me. Fucking lighting is a bitch. I have wrestled with that for so long and still currently am wrestling with lighting. So the brighter light wins. That is the shadow that is cast. There is no main light, sublight. There's none of that. The shadow is cast the way the brighter light shines, unless
Unless.
it is in a studio, in a very controlled environment. And
Mhm.
a flashlight going against, because at the time that's what they had, fucking flashlights built into their suits, pretty
Mhm.
much. There was no LEDs at that point in
No.
time.
No. 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 They didn't.
There was no soft lighting. It was all
It's all
sun
one light.
or harsh yellow light, right? The sun wins every effing time. To me, that's I've been outside with a flashlight before in the daytime, and it sucks. Doesn't work. So the sun wins that battle. You will have shadows cast, the darkest shadows cast from the brightest light. That's just how it
Mhm.
goes.
And that's your take.
Yo, yeah. I
And
just
that's his story, and he's sticking to it.
well, I just it's tough because I've been fighting lighting the whole time I've ever been on fucking YouTube, and
That's
it's
like your
annoying.
nemesis right now.
It's my nemesis. You know, I mean that along with my arch
Damn you,
nemesis
light.
called Wi-Fi and lighting. Fuck you guys. You
Yeah.
know, but like
Yeah, I could.
my thing
Yeah,
is, the
internet's
brighter
being
light
kind of
wins the battle. That's just how it goes, and it's just like it's perspective, kind of.
Mhm.
So if you had one angle of the moon landing, just one, the shadows should all be going the same way. Period. Unless it's altered, pretty much.
So then, would you say that it's not that the moon landing is not real? Is that what you're saying?
I would 100% say that.
Okay.
I
So
would
you're
100%.
in that you're in that boat where you think it was staged.
Well, could it have happened? I feel like, um, fuck no. At that same time, during that moment, but at the
Uh-huh.
same time, I'm like, okay, let's take it back some. Technology at that point, lighting, cameras, especially. If we're pulling from cameras footage from back in the day, you got to look at that footage with the technology that was able to be shot back in the day, right? Like you can't
Right.
cameras now are not a representation of what cameras were back in the day.
Well, no,
Yeah, no.
you can't take this. It's impossible. It's like taking oh, let's compare quarterbacks. Fucking Dan Marino to Tom Brady. Like it's two
Yeah,
different quarterbacks. They're very
two
good,
different.
but
Yeah,
they're two
two
different
different.
quarterbacks. You can't. Yeah, you can't.
And so okay, so I'll give you the one thing. It's like okay, does it make sense that we staged it very well, or does it make sense that we made a lunar landing with all the cinematography like errors? For me, it like makes more sense that we staged it because we had to win. We had to win the space race. Like there
Well,
was
that's
no
what a lot.
questions about it.
Yeah, no, that's what people said. That's why. Well, that's what some of the conspiracy theorists say. It was staged because we were going up against Soviet Union. It was a Cold War, so we had to win
Yeah.
and to prove a point. So to do that, we had to stage this moon landing at that time to beat them.
And boy did it work.
It worked.
Because of the winning, right? Because of us winning that in like to me it doesn't make any sense why we were racing for it anyway. But it makes sense in the long run. It's like because of that, they backed off. Because of them backing off, we developed a bunch of other stuff. Because of that, we were probably eventually able to go to the moon, in my
Mhm.
personal opinion. Um, but it makes sense to have the US win that space race on camera. We were the
Mhm.
leading I want to say we were the top of the line obviously Hollywood movies. They were a thing. They were being consumed by the masses at that time. So whatever you put in front of people was what they believed. There was no YouTube, there was no internet, there was no fact checking, there was no nothing. They just mass
Well,
consumed what was told to them.
I believe that at that time, like in back then, we were as a world, as people, I believe that we were more of a, not, I don't want to say like closed minded. We were just simpler, you know. If
Well,
we believe, like if the government said, "Hey, we build an airplane and we're going to go to Mars," like
yeah,
okay, yeah, we're going to do that. That's what we're doing. You know,
yeah.
the government's not going to lie to us. Why would the government lie?
There there was a lot less input, put it that way, because the channels were
Hmm.
so limited, you know.
Right,
Um
right.
and we were more prone to believe because up into that sort of that time things were kind of copacetic with everyone. Like this is the news, it is what it is. Janice had her baby, you know, shit like that. We went to the moon.
Mhm.
Like it wasn't any kind of, or less of the bombastic headlines. It wasn't that shit that we see now all up in our
Right,
face. But
right.
yeah. um yeah.
No, it's interesting though. I mean, yeah, it's
All
pretty
right.
interesting. So, but all right. All right. So, that note. But if Kubrick did actually help the US government and NASA fake the moon landing, he never got the chance to say so. Kubrick died of a supposed heart attack on March 7th, 1999. Kubrick had suffered a myocardial infraction in his sleep, which is said to be easy to induce through simple poisoning. Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm. Hmm. Simple poisoning. Some say he was poisoned because of his last film, Eyes Wide Shut, which some say ruffled a few feathers to say the least. It exposed secret organizations of the wealthy and elite, and that's why people think he was murdered and didn't die of natural causes. So he
Well,
kind of like brought out,
yeah.
more started to bring out all that stuff, and then Epstein and all the other good stuff,
Well,
not good stuff, but
I
all that
I
other stuff.
just I can't pure reaction right to that, because I'm not. Let's be honest with this. I'm not too familiar with Kubrick. I know, like, let's say the movies he's released that
Mhm.
are box office hits, but I haven't dove down the Kubrick rabbit hole.
I
Um,
mean, I as directors, I don't. You don't really like. I don't really know Kubrick either. I mean, I know uh, George Lucas because of Star Wars.
yeah,
I don't know like his personal life or anything like that. Same thing with Steven
and,
Spielberg.
and I
I
know
think they're great
Tarantino
directors, but
because of what,
Tarantino.
Kill Bill.
But see, I think Tarantino's. You know more of Tarantino because he's more. I feel like he's more out there,
Yeah,
more, and he's kind
yeah,
of not. I mean,
and he's
he
also
seems like a,
in his movies.
yeah, he's in the movies, and I think he'd be an interesting guy to like sit down and talk to.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
he would. I'd get a laugh at it, like talking to
So
him. It's pretty interesting.
Kubrick was more like subliminal with his stuff. Like, you have to be in the know to pick up what Kubrick was putting out there. Is
For
what,
like the Eyes Wide Shut type of movie, and like the Space Odyssey and The Shining. Yeah, I kind of
yeah,
feel like that.
like
But like Full Metal Jacket, I think Full Metal Jacket was just like I love that movie. I think that's a great movie. But
I
it's
just
it's just kind of
I just
it's a
I just feel
Vietnam
like
movie.
if you're hiding stuff in like subtext and or implied, like you're direct when it's like kind of like an implied message or subtext and or hidden agenda, right? You
Hmm.
are directing that to it's like an inside joke. Only the people that know what you're doing, and
Well, I
that's a
think that's another thing
dangerous.
with like Eyes Wide Shut. It was
Yeah,
like he was putting that out there, and he was letting us know how it's like in Hollywood. and only the people that knew in Hollywood
viewed it as a
under,
threat.
right, they understood it, and they're saying that's why, you know. But other people say that he died of natural causes.
Now it's easy to write off. Now, this is how I view things. Like when someone says, someone of a higher profile like Kubrick, right? When you die of natural causes, is it easier? Is it more explainable to write it off as natural causes, or is it easier and are less questions asked if it is a murder, or if it is a you know what I mean? Like,
well, if somebody dies of natural causes, it's easier to explain because he died of natural causes. Like you have an aneurysm and your brain explodes or whatever, and you die. Like no, like
that's like,
that's just you die.
but what were
That's
you doing
nature. That's what's
before
going to
that?
happen.
You know, that's my thing. It's like, okay, natural causes, granted, on paper, very easily to explain. But when you're like talking about real shit, like talking about the innards of the elite, right? When you're bringing to light that stuff, and that's the time you croak. Like,
well, again, it's kind of all right. Look, I don't like to bring up his name, but we'll just use the guy that had the island, right?
yeah,
So if he was in his cell and the next morning they came and they found him dead, and they were like, okay, he had a heart attack, or he had a brain aneurysm, natural causes. Everyone's like, it's natural causes, nothing you can do about it. Like it just
yeah,
happened.
yep,
But then they go in there the next morning and he's hanging from the windowsill or whatever with some crap tied around his neck. And you're like, okay, that's not natural causes. It's weird and it is unexplainable because somebody was supposed to watch him and somebody dropped the ball on that, but
yep.
on purpose, Or again, he had a heart attack, but it looked like it could have been poisoning. Like that's not natural causes. Then you're like, yeah, somebody tried to get to him because he was going to talk too much.
I just feel like as humans, when people are unalived, either by natural or unnatural, right?
Mm-hmm.
There needs to be some sort of due diligence. Like, what were they talking about? If I'm talking about baseball or whatever, let's just talk. If I'm talking about cricket and all of a sudden I'm found hung from my shower, the chances are that was me. You know
Well,
what I mean? Like,
usually they'll do the autopsy and they can tell how you died.
well, in those cases, if I'm talking about something that matters and I'm uncovering shit, then the medical report somehow gets lost and or skewed
Well,
and
then
or passed between, you know what I
everyone
mean?
starts
Like,
asking questions, and that's a
that's
little weird.
that's my
That's weird.
thing. Is like, I don't believe in convenient coincidences. Is it convenient
Well,
that he
that's why
died
people
when he
think that
died?
he knew stuff. Well, that's what people were saying, that he knew stuff and he uh, had a heart attack. So
Lots of
he was
things.
saying things that people didn't like, supposedly.
Lots of things can lead to heart attacks.
Lots of things can stress,
Yep.
poison,
Poison. But very interesting though. Like, I've said this multiple times on my other platforms. When it's a very dangerous game when you get really close to the truth. Because one, yeah, you're invaluable, but at the same time, you're invaluable. Like, to erase that line, let's say, hear me out on this kind of like crazy example, right? And this is bullshit, guys. Everyone listening, bullshit. But let's go on a theoretical journey. If I'm the president's advisor or security advisor, and I overhear that, okay, the aliens attacked us, but we got to play it off as such and such, would it be surprising to know that I accidentally ran into a train, or vice versa. A train accidentally ran into me. That's kind of shit. Like, if you know too much, you're in the crosshairs. If you're privileged enough to know things, it's the people that what is it called? Whistleblow, right? The people that whistleblow are the few that are privileged to know something, and they need to share it. And I think whistleblowing and putting the news out there is a way to ensure your security. Because once you blow the whistle, then all eyes are on you. Then you kind of have that little like buffer of, hey, I don't accidentally have a heart attack. My heart's fine. Which, guys, my heart is fine. I don't know about you, Av. I'm fine.
Once again, Dale just wants you to know that he did not do it.
100%. 100%.
So a quick fact, a quick fun fact about the moon landing anyway, not about him dying. A quick fun fact. Pablo Picasso, yes, the famed artist, he died in 1973. He saw the moon landing and he said this about it. It means nothing to me. I have no opinion about it and I don't care.
Pretty much.
That was his take on it, which is actually kind of weird. I didn't know he was alive then.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. If you're talking about dates, Pablo Picasso was alive during the moon landing. Veterans of the effing Civil War fought in World War One. Just letting you know.
Like, I know it's weird. It's weird when you think about it, because when I read that, and I was like, wait, this is the same Pablo Picasso with the yep, that's him. Like, I thought he died like 100 years ago.
Da Vinci. Like Da Vinci. I don't know why I always put Picasso like in the same time frame as Da Vinci.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, it's weird to see that he saw the moon landing and he could care less about it. And I'm like, well, wasn't he alive when like Da Vinci? I thought he was alive way back then, but he wasn't. He has a driver's license. He has a social security card.
Crazy fact. Because the Gettysburg, Battle of Gettysburg is so relevant, kind of local to us, right? The people that fought in that survived were able to see the fucking manufacturing and the invention of the truck. People that wagoned all their cannons hundreds of miles to blow people out of the world.
Well, my grandmother,
the invention of a truck.
My grandmother, she would live to be not well over 100, but she was 102 or something like that when she passed away.
Wow.
So she lived through like 2 world wars, and she saw like moon landing and all that stuff, and just it was crazy. When I think about her life and all the stuff that she went through.
That's crazy to think about.
She went through like the Great Depression. Holy moly.
Well, the oldest, now for perspective, at least for our U.S. audience, right, which will blow our U.S. minds, is the oldest survivor, the oldest veteran of the Civil War, lived to hear Elvis's music and to see the first atomic bomb drop.
It's crazy.
Like, come on. Like, let that soak in. From muskets to nuclear fucking weapons, bro, in the same lifetime.
It's crazy.
But
it's crazy.
But yeah. So
but Kubrick, the death of Kubrick. Yeah, so so it's a little interesting. He helped with the moon landing, and some of the video that they show, people say that you can, I guess the way they move seems kind of funny. Some people say they slowed they sped the video up to make it look like, or slowed it down to make it look like they bounce more and stuff like that. Well, because they're thinking like, well, if there's no gravity, how are they like taking all these like little hops all over the place? And they say that I guess they kind of like sped. I'm sorry, I don't remember if they said they sped up the video or slowed it down a little
Probably
bit to make
slowed
it
it
look like
down.
they're, kind of
Probably
like make
slowed it
them
down.
do
Like
like this and
the moon
yeah.
hop.
So
Like
yeah, so there's quite a few things in there, um, so
well, hear me out on this. Like with the right equipment, with the right lighting, with the right staging, could we recreate the original lunar landing? And the
oh,
answer
definitely,
is yes. We
definitely,
could.
yeah,
The I man. I think the footage of the first lunar landing is a false. We needed to win. We needed to have a W as a country,
mm-hmm.
and we went for it. And the world sort of annoyingly backed us up. All right, fair enough. Makes sense. Russia, first thing in space. Us, the US, first person on the moon. Okay, we needed to go with that narrative, right? The fact that we really haven't been back since the heyday, right, is odd. Because we could put to rest everyone else. All this podcast, all what we're talking about could be put to rest if we landed on the same spot, which we know we have the technology, we know we have the right cameras, we know what it takes, but we're not doing it.
Not right now.
India did it. India made it to the effing moon, guys.
Yeah,
They
we'll
live
get. I'm
streamed that
pretty sure
shit.
we're gonna go back. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll get back there. Yeah, no, that's like I said. That's what people thought, that we didn't have the technology to actually get to the moon. Again, we
Yeah,
have to get past the belt, that radiation belt, and well, if India can get there, we sure as hell can too.
yeah, yeah.
You know, we have to.
I just feel like we didn't get there because there's no oil on the moon.
We didn't
You
stay
know what
there
I mean?
because there's no oil on the moon.
100% made no sense. It makes more sense that we won when we did. You know, no
I had
one
to.
would give a
We weren't
shit
gonna let.
about. Yeah, no one would
We
give a
weren't
shit
gonna
about
let
us landing on the
Russia.
moon now.
No, we
Like,
don't. Well, again, back then it was a more simpler time.
yeah,
Everybody was more patriotic. Everyone was more together. Uh, you know,
yeah.
wasn't
Well, I
such a
feel
big
like,
divide.
and hear me out on this, and this is kind of more of a like a broader spectrum statement, but I feel like we were only fed a handful of things, maybe different ways, but there were only a handful of transmissions, channels, uh,
Well,
talks around the
again,
water cooler.
the more
Like,
it was
you
a more
know,
simple time. We didn't have all this technology to, like,
fact
drive
check.
us, go all different directions, and
Yeah,
all this other crazy stuff that's going on now. It's just a whole different simple time. There's actually, I feel like it's kind of nicer back then. I'm more chill.
well, no one gave a shit about it because
No.
the people that did, I guess, did right. Like, I mean, it sounds stupid, but like a lot of stuff was happening during that time that was like real life
Yeah.
shit, like raising families, and like you're talking about like heyday of the boomer generation, right? And they were focused more on building shit here on Earth than exploring fucking space.
Yeah.
It was the
Shit like
boomers'
that.
kids that gave a shit.
Yeah. Yeah. But so the moon landing, maybe we made it, maybe we didn't. I don't know. Tell us what you guys think. Leave a comment.
Oh my
Shoot us
god!
an email. Do something.
Please
Please.
leave comments. Please leave comments, guys. Shoot
Yeah.
us an email for real. Like, help us out. We're trying to grow our little footprint out here, and trust me, we are in it. We're in there with you. Like we don't try
We're
to,
in
what
it
was
to
it? We don't
win
try
it.
to preach. Yeah, 100%. We're in it to win it. We don't try to preach. We are offering the same questions, but we're asking them together as a channel. You know?
Yeah, that makes any sense to anybody.
Nope.
But anyway, so on that note, remember, don't forget to subscribe. Totally free for a limited time offer to everybody. New subscribers, totally free. Leave a comment, like, share, all that good stuff. Check us out on Spotify. Thank you again, Daniel, for joining us.
Hey,
and
always.
Until next
Guys,
time.
Stay enigmatic.
Yes, stay enigmatic. And stop eating guinea pigs.
100%.
Remember, with every subscription, we save a guinea pig.
We can save all the guinea pigs together as a collective.
Yeah. Not for a cup of coffee, for a subscription. Only you can help us. But thank you. And until next time, peace.